Hey everyone, welcome to another Family Care Learning podcast. My name is Brandon Jones, and with me I have a very special guest. This is Braden, and we're about to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because of the people I love. And so you are about to observe a conversation between two women that absolutely love this little guy. And because of
my mama and papa.
Mama and papa. And because of their ability to remain humble and really focus on what's best for him, well, you'll have to just hear the story. But my hope and prayer is that after hearing about Kim and Billie's story, you might be encouraged to take a step in faith and how to just pursue shared parenting. And so, without further ado, let me introduce to you Kim and Billie.
You're the one with the beardy.
Beardy? Scratchy beardy?
No.
Let me scratch
Best friends forever.
Ever. The one with the roll. Our daughters do that.
The daughters do it.
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay, you go first. No, you go first.
I'm adoptive mom.
I am biological mom. Well, all of our kids are all together. Well, your kids too. Mm-hmm. Oh, because I fell in love with your guys' kids too. They're awesome. And then, our kids together and then my kids.
So we have Angel, Blaze, Bronson, Braden, Briggs, Isabel, Bella. I first got in contact with Kim or knew of Kim when Braden, our third son, came into our lives through the foster care system. There was a little bit of fear, just a fear of the unknown, fear of, I didn't know this person, but there was this baby, this child whom I loved fiercely and just, didn't really know. Like I was afraid, I think. I was worried about what she thought of me, if I was like trying, didn't want any, I don't even know how to say it. Fear of the unknown, fear of her thinking that I'm a type of person that like is not going to be like caring about her or situation or anything like that. Because I know sometimes a lot in those situations, it's often like me versus them, you versus them, they, and you think like, well, they don't care or they don't, they're not like a person to you. They're, it's, I don't know. Or in fear of too, like you love this little kid, this baby, this child so much, like that you're like, well, it's, you want to be a little territorial in that sense, I want what's best, but not knowing what their intentions are, in a sense.
Billie, you're caring for Braden, right? Kim, you recently, DCS took Braden, and so
Yeah.
tell me what you were going
In my
through.
mind, because I went to court and I'll never forget the day that I went into labor and I actually called because I was kind of by myself going into labor. Yeah. And at that time, like I said, I was going through a lot with not having any family, and the relationship, the domestic violence, situation. And then, being to where I was at that time homeless and I didn't know what to do. And so I remember giving birth and calling them and telling them I had gave birth, and they were like, we have to take him. And I was just really sad because I got to hold him for a little bit, and then someone just walks away, when you're a kid. Feel really empty at that time. Yeah. I was thinking about the thought. But when I went to court and I seen Billie, I remember thinking, wow, she looks like an amazing mom. And I never had any how dare you, or anything. I just wanted him to be okay. And at that time, I think with everything going on, I don't know, I was scared in court. I had never I didn't know what to do. So I just went with what was going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
I would always go to this building to go see him and watch him play and play with him. And I remember a lady telling me, she told me, right now you don't have anybody, and you know, you don't have much to offer him. And do you really want him to struggle? And I said, no. She said, they could provide a better life for him. So I said, but I don't want to be without my baby, you know?
Yeah.
And I go, maybe you're right. Because I looked at him and I couldn't picture like him going through what I was going through. And it wouldn't be fair. So I said, I really love him. And when I seen her in court and I was like, you know, I see her, like you could see
at the first meeting.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that?
Ooh.
The first time we met each other was at, remember your first at McDonald?
Yeah. Wow. That is a story.
Funny story.
Funny story.
I did not handle that very well.
Right.
I was not waiting where I was supposed to be waiting. I was in the parking lot the whole time.
Yeah. I had my visitation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go
you
ahead.
had the
Go ahead.
visit.
You tell
Okay.
it. It's funny.
Well, that day I was told I get my visitation. I love Billie. So I get my visitation. I'm like, okay, you know, of course I had friends too show up and like sit in the McDonald's in the corners. I'm like, so I get there and we're seeing Braden and the lady walks in with him and she was like, you know, Adoptive mom was really crying and really emotional. And we had to take the kid. And I go, man, there's a band that keeps circling. And she's like, yep, that's her. That's her crying in the car. And I go, you know what? I go, can you please tell her to come in? I was like, I know that feeling because I felt that feeling. And she loves him as much as I do. Then I'm totally cool with that.
She's stalking me at this
Yeah.
appointment.
And I go, I couldn't ask for a better person. That showed me, like, right then and there, like, wow, this is a mom that's gonna love and care. Because that's what moms do. Absolutely. And she did it. So that's why I was like, no, tell her she's more than welcome. I'm not here to hurt her, my son, or, you know, myself too. Because we're all feeling those emotions, you know?
Yeah. Will you talk a little bit about what kind of emotions that you were feeling at first?
Mine it wasn't anger or I didn't really have any bad. Mine was more sad because at the same time,
yeah,
you know, you give birth to a child, you know, you're like, that's my baby.
Yeah.
And it sucks when you're like, wow, you sometimes are like, oh, but you know, I want him back. But then I had to realize, like, you know, everything's going to be okay. And as long as he's okay, that's all that mattered. I think my feelings kind of really didn't matter anymore, you know? Even though I felt sad and I would cry a lot, but I was like, what matters is him and what he's going to be able to accomplish, what he's going to go through. That's all I really cared about. But also, like I said, the fears that I've had of you never know who they're going to or, you know, that's your child. So you're like, I hope this person is, you know, a good person. But when I seen what she did at the McDonald's, I was like, yeah, okay, we got a good mom here.
Yeah.
I got in trouble for that.
It's okay.
You know, my husband was not happy.
Sometimes, hey, when we love our kids, we're willing to risk anything.
So thinking about as you two, and it seems like you got to really know each other, especially kind of later as
we finalized the adoption with Braden. I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm like, I remember the Facebook message. I'm like, hey, do you want to have a relationship? I think I said something like that, like, hey, do you want to be involved at all? Like, I would love to chat with you. We could FaceTime. I don't know. I don't really have any expectations. Like, how do you feel about this?
So as you reached out, what was kind of going through you, like emotionally for you?
Well, I think Kim said it best. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about my feelings or my being, again, I think I was always a little scared, you know, like, and I think at that point, having, you know, the adoption being finalized, okay, this is my son, like, he's my kid, and having that protective mother, you know, that my motherly, instinct of protecting him. It was more just like, oh, like, okay, like he's, this is mom too. Like I'm going to have to share him in a sense. And, those kind of things of, what was I feeling back then? Just again, fear of the unknown. Like, is he going to gravitate more towards her, even though I'm doing everything, is there, I know he was still little at that point. But I mean, just a natural thing. But then I reflected on my past, and I know what it was like to what it is. I was raised by a step family, had my own biological family. So, and it was, you don't talk about this over here. We don't really talk about this over here. And really just not having a peaceful, safe place to talk about any of that. And I just knew I did not want that for him. I wanted it. I wanted to be like, you know what? You don't look like me. You look like Mama Kim. And that's cool. I love that. They have dimpled chin. That's my favorite feature on my kids. They have that from Mama Kim. Zoom in. Yeah. There's going to be stories and things and his history, that have to do with his identity that I cannot give him. So really in that moment.
Like the story of when he was born, like I had to tell him.
Oh, I cannot wait to share that. But like, it's not about me at that point. The minute you become a parent, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter what your desire or your, what you want. It's about them.
It's interesting. You mentioned kind of this fear. And I think there's probably a lot of people out there that identify with this sense of, I love this child so much, and what if they love someone else more? And
we were just talking about this last night. So we kind of told each other like, oh, and this is even recent too. Like this, we're talking within this last week with our situation, how even a few times I was like, oh man. And she was like, oh, I having this kind of feeling. I'm feeling this type of way. Yeah. But it's so interesting how God is just so good and how it's not a competition. It's not a competition. He is going to love her for her reasons and for those reasons. He is going to love me for my it really doesn't have to be a competition because at the end of the day, there is someone else out there who matches my love for our son. Yeah. Our son. Nobody else is going to love him the way we love him. Yeah. So it's really all God. Nothing really needs. You don't have to be fearful because if anything, I've been shown, it doesn't need to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so there's almost like this focus from, I'm going to move away from my worries that he's not going to love me and just focus on how well we can love him.
Yes.
And out of that, do those worries still come up at certain times? Or
I would say after this last week and a half, I don't think I will ever worry about that again.
Why?
I think being able to have Kim and the kids in our home and watching the ebb and flow that we have, almost like the co-parenting. I mean, her kids call me Mama Billie. Mm-hmm. Our other biological children call her Mama Kim. It's just so clear that there's
just all this love.
Yeah, there's not I have such a peace about it. And I know not everybody's situation can be the same or can be completely replicated like ours. I know there's different, but really, if it's that whole competition. Their identity, their who they grow up to be, and what they base their values on. I can't give him 100% all of those things. So, but he has access to it, and if that helps shape him into the man he's going to become, who am I to say anything against that? Yeah. That's and God calls us to do that. We are called the brotherly love, sisterly love. We are called to do that. That's not just when you're at church. It's not just, hey neighbor. It's getting out of your comfort zone and reaching out and saying yes.
So thinking about that, right? Like, so you see Kim in the love, like now you're able to speak so confidently in the love that she has, like the love you both have. Was that always, so how did you, like, what was your first impression, or what did you hear from people, or maybe your general impressions about bio parents when DCS, and just share a little bit about that.
I think it is unfortunate that sometimes there was another foster family in our lives because they had siblings of Braden's, and unfortunately some of the things that, they had learned and heard, was reiterated to me. And I think that looking back now, I wish I would have handled it different. I wish I would have said, well, I'm just going to make my own judgment. But again, kind of sitting in that fear a little bit of the unknown and not really, experiencing that type of situation, for the first time, it didn't help. It fed the fear. That's what it does. That's what it does. And again, because I think so many times foster parents, we want to get this impression, well, they're bad people, or they're these type of people, and we gotta keep them at arm's length, and they're just moms and dads who are having a tough time, who need somebody in their corner. Like Kim has said multiple times, if someone would have just come beside me and been like, hey, let me help you. Let's do this together. I mean, they just need help. I mean,
Yeah. Thank you. So it seems like, just even looking at you two interacting, right? Like you have a very, seems like a pretty close relationship, a caring relationship. Is it always been that way? Is it up and down? What do you see?
I mean, we like any relationship.
I feel like I have a sister relationship with her. So sometimes, we've had our...
You love each other, and then you kind of don't like each other. Then you like each other. Then we're like, oh, sorry.
But then
I shouldn't have said that.
We always come back together.
Yes, because we realize the value of our relationship and how that trickles down to our children.
And then not only me, my own family, like my brother, loves, the family, like
pulling more family in, to be included in the,
like, even though we lost our mom, our dad, and our brother, and it's just me and my little brother, you guys had became our family,
Yeah.
And it was just we gained a family through all this, and it was just so beautiful. And when I see all the kids together, and when I see all of them playing, it's just the most beautiful thing I could ever see. Like, that, it makes my heart so full that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, I couldn't ask for something so much joy in my life. And I think, like I said, I've went through some bad things, but it's also so many blessings, like to be here, to be at Billie's house, and to see the kids, like the way that they interact, the way I interact with your kids, the way that my kids interact with you. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, Mama Billie, like everybody's just like so, and I love it. It's so beautiful.
So you said to be at Billie's house. Are you staying at her house right now?
Yes.
Wow. So what is that?
It's like family.
Yeah. What? How did that come about?
I've stayed a couple times. So, I mean,
well, unfortunately, this last time,
this last time was really, really hard.
Had a family emergency.
And what's interesting is Braden had been praying and asking to see me, and
I just want to hug Mom again, and Angel and Isabel.
And then all of a sudden, we had this big tragedy with my mom passing from COVID, and my brother, and having, to go through that, which we had, your family, Brandon come in and did a prayer and him be a part of our family the way that we are part of your family. And I thought that was so important when they asked me, who would you want also to come in? I was like, I have the perfect person that has taught me so much about God and is showing me new things that is amazing. And I would like that for my brother, that didn't get that chance, because I grew up I've been to foster home, which was not an easy thing for me. I did feel alone. I remember feeling alone because they had separated me and my brothers. I didn't see Jerome for so long, and the damage that it took on him to where we explained he didn't get counseling to make himself, feel and heal. In his life, he felt like everybody just left me, and the foster people he had went with had a bunch of foster kids, and they were just kind of,
Yeah.
With me, I cried because I only seen my mom only when she could bring me a gift on Christmas or something, or also when we finally got visitations, but somebody had to watch us, and I was like, why does somebody have to watch me with her? Like, because my mom never physically hurt me. It was just the other incident.
Yeah.
But I had to go through that and not see her for a long time, and it did take an effect on me because but not seeing my brothers, I think took the biggest effect because you feel that emptiness. Like, where's my blood? Where is,
You
and
experience kind of the same feeling situations with your siblings.
But since my brother passed and he didn't get to, fix himself, and I wish he could have seen, and been a part. But you were right when I called you crying. You were the first person to be like, "It's okay, Kim. We're here. We're family," and that was amazing.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and then I came out and. Like I said, it's been such a blessing and happy time, even though I have that sad time.
Yeah,
but
what in such a big circumstance surrounding all of the tragedy that's happened the last week and a half, there's been kind of peace and understanding and
lots of love because your family came together for us. My friends and other people have came together for everything. Like, out of this tragedy, I had seen so much love, though, come through, and that's, like, amazing. Like, it just made me have this feeling in my heart that I was like, wow, we're not alone. God has, brought these people into my life and my kids' lives. And look, Kim, when you always thought you were alone, God was like, you're not alone. And these kids are going to be okay. So...
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. It's like reiterating kind of what kind of the crazy part is 2 weeks ago, Braden's like, can I see pictures of my siblings? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Let's look at pictures. And then we're like, well, let's FaceTime. We set up a time to FaceTime. And then,
That was funny because they sat on the phone doing funny pictures and everything.
Yeah. And then they FaceTimed again. And then you called me, and then, between those times, Braden was like, I wish I could just hug them. And, Braden and I been praying with him at nighttime. I just want to hug Mama Kim and my brother and my sister. We're like, well, let's pray about it. Let's pray that. And then again, even though the circumstance was really sad, like God answered his prayer. So it's been cool to have him see, like, God answered my prayer and see that work in his life because he was really sad. He wanted to see you guys and it's funny because I even had told Brandon, like, after the FaceTime, I don't know if I had told you this yet or I don't know if you remember, but I was even like, after we get through, like, we need to find some time to get to bring them out. Like, we need to, like, schedule a time. Like, it's time to... Yeah. We need to come together and, have Braden and Bella see. And then that's been a whole separate, and then we have Bella as well. That's, I don't even know if...
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about her. Okay. Well, we'll get to her, right? It's the only one I could trust to give another baby to. Willingly, I was like, you ready for another baby, Billie? Ring, ring, ring. This time, it wasn't through CC. Well,
it was personal
choice. A personal choice. That's how much I trusted and loved. Yes. I was like, this is the right choice.
I love that. Right.
Again, sacrificing your needs and wants and recognizing that this is just, I can't do this. So he called me. Yeah.
So Billie, have this relationship with Kim, like, over these years and months and last weeks, how has your relationship with Kim blessed you? What do you see in her? What have you been encouraged with?
I mean, well, starting even like when we started, just kind of what I was saying about just the mindset of like my kid, like just to sorry, I'm struggling with words. Her willingness to sacrifice her own wants and needs at the time for the betterment of two of her children. I mean, that goes beyond anything. And for her to sit here and hear like that somebody trusted me with them because, yeah, I mean, she trusts me. She knows I'm going to take care of these kids. I mean, just I've loved doing life with her just the last week and a half. I mean, we've had this ebb and flow of cooking, cleaning, and I mean, just, you know, watching her in her, you know, kind of having a tough year this last year with some stuff, but she buckled down and again rose to the occasion, which I'm like, I knew you have that in there. She's a fighter, man. Is that girl, you know? So just watching her just keep overcoming and just to keep building for herself, for the kids. I respect that so much in her. And I love, and I've known from day one, I knew she could do it. I knew it was in there. I always was telling her, come on, Kim. I know there's a fighter in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just, I know I'm even like, as we leave, I'm going to be like, oh, I should have said this and this. There's so
in the car
many
laughing,
things.
like, we should have said that.
There's
just so many years of just so many good things that it's like, you know.
Yeah. How do you see that this relationship between you two, how has that blessed the children?
It's done awesome for the children.
Well, again, I think everybody wants to know their identity, where they come from, who they look like, their experiences, genetics, stories, whatever it may be. And everybody, I don't care who you are and how old you are, you want that connection.
Yeah.
And so I do have a story. Sorry if I cry. This last week, Brayden was really upset about something, and I don't even know what it was. I was cleaning the kitchen, and Kim went into the living room and just took Brayden in her arms and was holding him like a baby. And I heard him go from being really upset to laughing, because a familial trait is they are all very jokesters. They're very, very deep. And I have loved seeing that just come forth. Even Bella, who's a little more introverted and can be a little to herself sometimes. They're hilarious. So they went from he went from crying and being upset to him laughing because Kim started to talk about his birth story and how when he was born and how he was naked as they come and with the superhero cape. And she was just, I can't even remember specifically what she said. And it's funny because I was going to go join them, but I couldn't. I had to just sit down at the table and just listen because I was just so thankful. I'm like, thank you, God, for allowing us to have this opportunity for him to hear that, because that's not something I can give him. That's not my story to tell him. I don't have information. I don't know details. And for her to be able to be in my home and holding our son and having him hear that, like, as a mom, I don't know, like, sometimes there just are no words. Like, I was just very thankful that this opportunity had arrived for him to hear that. I mean, we just love our kids, and that's really, at the end of the day, that's just, sorry. That's precious to me.
Yeah. And Kim, what was that like for you to be able to provide that to?
That felt amazing. When I seen him crying, of course, my heart's like, I'm like, okay, here you got this, Kim. So I walked over there and I grabbed him and I go, you know what a perfect story would be to tell him if I was born. And I was telling him, because when he was born, he had like this hair, so I would always push in a mohawk. And I did buy him a superhero cape. You know, of course, I had to spice up the story.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
No, but hearing that and hearing how cool he was, and I actually have a picture that I wanted to share with you guys. I was looking at it yesterday of him in the, in the actual, after he was born.
Yeah.
I think he looked the coolest dude, and I think he would really like to see that too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They even put fake glasses on him. It was funny. It was so cute. But no, that was really amazing to watch him giggle and really get that connection. I want to thank you guys for even giving me the opportunity to do that. But in my heart, it just felt so good, to see him smile. Like I said, and especially with all the kids, I love it when she's on my kids because I'm like, yes. But I learn new things. Honestly, it's also been a blessing because when I watch you guys too, you learn new things, and I've learned things. I'm like, I would like to take that back with me too, and start doing that with my family. I love watching and seeing and watching the kids how they interact, and it's like. It's
even
like
our dog. She's been a great therapy dog.
Yeah. The dog. It's like the dog too.
From the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
Everybody's been involved.
The dog's like, I've been cuddle with the dog. It's been so amazing. It's like when we're all around each other, it's not even like, it's just this click, this love. Like there's not even like, oh no, like nervousness with anyone, it's just been
I keep having to tell her to stop asking me for stuff in the house. I'm like, girl, get it yourself.
Oh, I'm just she's like, really, Kim?
Yeah.
Really? And I'm like,
she's like, thank you. I'm like, stop. It's
sorry,
weird.
I have a habit of doing that.
It's weird.
I could be around you for 20 years. Billie?
I know.
Okay. That's me.
Yeah.
Or I have the tendency to say sorry a lot. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So thinking about, let's say
See, we even know each other already. Like we know our own little.
If you thinking about if let's say a foster or adoptive parent is watching this and they have a desire to reach out, or maybe a biological parent that's wanting to connect, and what would maybe be some encouragement for someone that's maybe dealing with fear and anxiety about?
Absolutely.
You know what? I think they shouldn't have fear. I think they should give it a try because it's not just for us as parents, but for the kids. Because, like I said, the example of, me being separated from my brothers, these kids also want to know where they lie. And it's not about us. It's also about them and giving them that peace of mind. Because they now have two families. Like Brayden has... your guys' sons, and then he has his brothers and sisters on my side. He gets this whole big family, and in his heart, he's like, "Wow, I get everybody. Yeah. I get my mom that I love here. I get my mom that I love there." And it's just, I think that's so much better for him instead of him being like, "Okay, like where's this part?"
Do I have to love this person more? Or this part, like, how do I show this? I know that mom. Because I seen him where he's like, in those moments, he's like, I need mom. And I totally happy with that. I'm like, but I also like when you're like, go listen to your mom.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, go listen to your mom. Go listen to your dad. Yeah. Of course. See, there's no, I don't have those like where I'm like, oh no, I want him to, no, I want him to be as happy as he can be and feel comfortable with whoever he wants to go with. And if he wants to come to me, okay, I'll be there. But if you need mom and dad, that's okay. I'm totally happy. And whatever, I want my son to be happy. I want my daughter to succeed in life and be happy. Yeah. So that's all that but I'm also, even without the kids, you guys have become so much a part of me. The love that I have, like I feel like you guys are my family. I'm like, they're my family. That's like my sister right there.
Well, and I think sometimes foster families should, take the opportunity because once I learned, Mario, Kim, the family history, you learn, okay, well, you didn't really get to do life as a family. Like, let me show you kind of what, a little bit of what I had from my childhood and, my husband's childhood, but let's show you just how we desire for our family and how we want that to look. And like, why don't you come join in over here? Like, let us show you, which is fun because, you know, I think, so like before this last year, you know, we were speaking to your brother because he lives here, you know, we were kind of doing life a little bit, and I don't think he really got it per se. I think he was a little fearful and, you know, like didn't really, because again, you guys didn't really have that.
Yeah,
so
we
I
never
think
grew
he
up
was
in a big family.
Yeah,
we
like-
kind of were. Well, you
like,
know,
hey, we're having dinner. Come over. Oh,
we weren't used to that.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So
okay.
we were
Is there
like,
enough?
what?
I'm like, bro, come over.
So
like,
we got
it's
to
fine.
get introduced to, actually, that's why even more is like, we gained a family.
Yes.
And so that's really awesome.
I think it's funny. I think not funny, interesting to see how even, you know, a year and a half ago, he was still not quite sure. But then with this interesting situation, this sad, you know, the mom and brother passing, kind of, I think he gets it now because we, you know, there was a little time where we, you know, kind of took a break. We didn't really speak, but then coming back together, I think when I opened my door, you know, because Kim said, oh, he's not really sure how you're going to respond. And I'm like, threw open my door and I'm like, get in the house. I'm like, get in the house. He was like, you know, like, okay. But I think it finally clicked for him. Like, dude. And it's been fun for me and Brandon too, to see our family hop along our ministry and our love and like,
yes, I love your
like
mom.
our moms,
I told you,
you know, our moms
steal
and
your
stuff.
mom.
Yeah. Our moms.
I'm taking your mom with me now.
I think she just said this morning too. She's like, she's a daughter. So
yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah. So,
and then going to church with you guys,
that was amazing.
That was cool. I loved that, and I thank you guys so much. And it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And praying together.
Yeah, we've done a lot of
Isabel praying,
watching the shows together.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus,
we're really in the chosen right now.
Oh yeah.
Yes. That's why I said it's very beautiful to sit down with them and be able to have that moment and watch those shows. And that's what I said. I mean,
we're doing life. That's just.
But like I said, I hope that foster parents do decide to give those kids that opportunity to not have that part missing, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I think a good step, I think one of the first things I did too, I don't know if you remember, but like I sent Braden to that McDonald's trip. This is why I'm just like, oh man, I didn't handle that well. Because I remember I wrote you a note and put some pictures in there for you. Do you remember that? Yeah. And I remember thinking like, okay, because they tell you to do that in class when we take our classes. And I was like, oh, I can do that. That's something I'll be good at. Yeah, that wasn't going to placate me, you know, like I was. But even like, I mean, if you're scared, if you still are fearful again of like that, like start there, like. Write a letter and just be like, this is who we are. Your child is safe. We love them. This is what they're doing. So I know, you know, they tell you to do it in class, and I encourage, like, to me, that's a great first step.
Not that I'm saying there's probably every perfect parent, because there are some parents that I understand should not have that, you know. But I think give it a chance. Reach out as a parent to that parent and learn about what that situation was.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people had judged me, and I'm pretty sure there was a lot of things. That's why I was like, and in that moment at that corner, I felt like a scared little girl. I honestly felt like shaking. I was so nervous. I was scared, and I was like, I don't even know like what to do. Only did they know. I was pretty much just this scared little girl right there, and I didn't know what to do. And as time got by, you know, I grew older, and you mature in things, and you go through your trials and your things, but I've learned to take it in a grateful way and say, you know what, things have happened, can't change them, but what you can do is be there, make it better, be there with God, be there with your kids, and you know, go now towards the future, because it can't go backwards in the past. You know,
well, especially people of faith. If you truly believe that God gives you grace and you understand His grace and His love, you need to extend that to others, and you need to extend for as much as grace as He gives us. And just because maybe our difficult times or our difficult choices that we've made, our sin or whatever, is maybe just not as public as everybody else's, it's still there.
Yeah.
And he gives me grace. So who am I to say, well, that's not for me to give to you?
Yeah. I went through, like I said, that hard time. And I wasn't perfect. I'm not saying I was perfect.
Nobody is, girl.
But it's learning and, you know, keep going and proving and showing and being there. But like I said, this has been our story, which I hope there could be more people like that. Honestly, I don't know if they would have the bond like we have though.
Yeah.
But my brother, he's like, man, I love them. They're awesome. Like we are so comfortable. It's like we joke, we laugh. The kids, we laugh, we play. They wrestle.
So
they wrestle with my brother.
The cousins. So now we have cousins coming into the picture. So we.
Wow, yeah.
You know, so.
I got to meet grandparents, great grandparents. I'm like, wow. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And I get so interested. I love hearing the stories. So I'm like, whoa. Yeah.
I think the story that you two share is beautiful. And what I'm hearing is it wasn't easy. There was anxiety, there was worry, there was brokenness along the way. But as you both were deeply loving these children, you found that common ground and got to know each other and get extended grace, because that's what God has given us.
One thing I want to thank her, because if she wouldn't have reached out to me, that did change my life a lot, because the fact that she took the time to reach out to me and care about these kids and to do all that and care about me. I think that was amazing. When I got her, when she wrote me, I was like, what, really? Like, it broke my heart. I was like, wow, like that was the most amazing thing. And I hope that there's more people like Billie that can really sit there and have it in their heart to say, you know what, I'm doing this for this kid, and I'm going to, you know, help build a family, not separate things, you know?
Yeah.
And if we're talking faith-based, if we're going to talk about God and who he was and what he did, there was not just him and his little gang of disciples at his table. That's not how it was.
Yeah, well,
and so many people, and I think too that, and I think there is fear too, also in the unknown, but the my schedule, my time, my so it's not just, I don't think it's just not fear of like person. I think it's like having that open door, kind of like, here's my life. I'm willing to change things for. My husband had to have an important procedure the day she came in, and we're like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do that. You go do that. I'm going to do this. Like, I think it's being comfortable with just rolling with the change. And when God says, hey, this needs to happen, and you're like, all right, it's just a schedule. It's just this. It's material thing. It's just.
Or like, I like how now my brother's gotten more into learning about God.
That was one thing that came from Brandon going down to the hospital and sharing the gospel with the brother who was passing. Now his question, he's super curious about. So, it's just because I stepped out of the fear and I stepped out in faith, and I was like, okay, God, this is not of me. This has got to be all you. And he ran with it. And that is very humbling, because at the end of the day, who am I? I'm a sinner. I'm a mom, and I want to do these things for my kids and my family and my husband. But at the day, who are my husband and I? We haven't done anything special. I just am somebody who wholeheartedly loves my God and Jesus and want to be a representation for him. And he has allowed me to do that in such a huge way. And my hope and my wish for other families is to get on board with that, because that's just all. I see what it's done in my life. Yeah. So.
And that's all right.
I really can't say anything else.
That was beautiful.